divinely prepared. Prepared. Brought us salvation.
I keep bringing souls to all about the service that I give. I'm a high-fighting soldier on the battlefield. I'm a high-fighting soldier on the battlefield. I'm a high-fighting soldier on the battlefield. I keep bringing souls to all about the service that I give.
Which one? What you got?
Repeat after me in unison. Allah, the Father of the universe. Allah, the Father of the universe. The Father of love. The Father of love. Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through his holy prophet. Through Ali. Amen. Islam. It is indeed an honor and a pleasure once again to stand before you to give honor to Allah, the great God of the universe. To the one who is supreme, most wise, and beneficent, and to him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. Who has stretched forth the heaven with his hands, who has described with his fingers the forces of the skies, who set it bounds to the ocean that it cannot pass, and said unto the stormy winds, be still. I give honor to Allah, because he is indeed the great God of the universe. He created this world in mercy and love, and Allah will judge it in the end with equity and truth. I give hail and high honor to his illustrious prophet, my brother, man, and friend, the last prophet in these days, Prophet Noble July, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Noble July did so much for us, it'll take me all the time, the rest of the time we got today, tomorrow, and the rest of our life to talk about. So get in tune with the prophet so you'll know what he has done for you. Because he done fixed the Moors for you and for me. I give honors to the past Supreme Grand Advisor and moderators of this Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother C. Kirkman Bey, Brother F. Nelson Bey, and Brother J. Blakely Bey. I give honors to the former Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother R. Love Hill, and to the present Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother R. Jones Bey. I give honors to his assistant, Brother P. Chase Hill, and to the remaining national officials of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I give honors to the auxiliaries of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Sisters Auxiliary, Young People Moorish National League, and to the Mufti Corps. I give honors to the divine child that hangs on the west wall, giving us a legal and divine right to teach Islamism on these shores without molestation. We can teach our people more who they are. We don't have to hide no more. We out on the front now. We out of the back. So thank Allah for that. And thank the Prophet Noble July. Because he is the one that's done it. I give honor to all the divine literature that the Prophet Noble Drew-Ali has brought us, special honors to the Holy Koran, the Moorish Science Temple of America. In this we find the divine instructions left by the Holy Prophet that we can use as a hammer to pound into ourselves to make it a part, every part of our own very character. These lessons work. So I'm here to tell you, they work. But for those of you who know, you know what I'm talking about. I give honors to the Ortiz and compound that the Holy Prophet Noble Drew-Ali brought for the healing of our bodies. I give honors to everything, to the American flag, the stars and the stripes, and to the Old Glory, the red flag with the five-pointed green star entwined in the center, representing the five divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You can't take one without the other.
That's right.
Because if you learn to love, it's only because you've been introduced to truth.
Right.
You recognize it, and all the rest just follows. I give honor to everything the Prophet Noble Drew-Ali brought, for it was, is, and forevermore shall be, for the uplifting of fallen humanity. This time, let me begin to read the divine constitution and bylaws that's left by the Holy Prophet Noble Drew-Ali to be read and opened of every meeting. Salvation, our God given. The Moorish Science Temple of America. The divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives upon to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No members are put in danger or accused falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all. They may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government. Because by being in Moorish America, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians. Because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865, during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew-Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of, quote, faithful, end quote. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew-Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew-Ali founder, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew-Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office, 1445 Constitution Avenue, Northeast Washington, D.C., 20,002. Islam. As the reading of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, Acts 1 through 7. This time we'll read from the questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet, Noble Drew-Ali. Act 1. Grand chiefs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses, each said temple must be approved by the prophet, Noble Drew Allah, before acting upon by any members. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any foreign officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restriction, etc., by the prophet or the grand chief. Act 2. All members are to attend their ad-lib meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift a nation. Act 4. Act 3, It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I had the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because God teaches love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must properly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865, during the time of slavery. But this is a new era time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Allah, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Allah, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Thus we pass the reading of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, Acts 1 through 7, questionnaire and additional laws. This time we'll take a reading from the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Allah, by the guidance of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life, with his father, God Allah. I'm going to call your attention page 40, chapter 32, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Charity. Happy is the man who has sown in his breast the seeds of benevolence. The produce thereof shall be charity and love. From the fountain of his heart shall rise rivers of goodness, and the streams shall overflow for the benefit of mankind. He assists the poor in their trouble. He rejoiceth in furthering the prosperity of all men. He censureth not his neighbor. He believeth not the tales of envy or malice. Neither repeateth he their slanders. He forgiveth the injuries of men. He wipeth them from his remembrance. Vengeance and malice have no place in his heart. For evil he returneth not evil. He hated not even his enemies. He requited their injustice with a friendly admonition. The griefs and anxieties of men incite his compassions. He endeavored to alleviate the weight of their misfortunes, and the pleasures of success rewarded his labor. calming the fury, he healed the cause of angry men, and prevented the mischiefs of strife and animosity. He promoted in his neighborhood peace and goodwill, and his name is repeated with praise and benedictions. Praise our Lord for this evening, for the company to which we've come in, for all the Moors, and I want to say to any of our Asiatic guests, welcome to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Here's where we teach nationality. We teach that we're not Negroes, black, colored, and Ethiopian. We teach that we are what our forefathers were, without a doubt or contradiction. And if they were then we are now. Because no one can change man from his decent nature, unless his power extends beyond the great universal God, Allah himself. It's a blessing to be out here. It's always a blessing to be in the company of my sisters and brothers, but it's even more so a blessing to talk about the Prophet Muhammad. To be able to say what he has done for us. To be able to go down the path and see what he has done and be able to be a part of this great divine national movement at this time, at this hour, and in this day. With all that's going on in the world. Look at where we at. Look at what we got. Look what the prophet has done for you. Just look to your left and look to your right. Look in front of you and look behind you. Praise Allah for the company that we in tonight. We're going to raise the spirit up tonight, Lord. Oh, yes, we are. We're going to do what the prophet said. Because we know the prophet came to save us. And he gave us the power to reach out to save ourselves and to assist in the saving of others. Teach the gospel. That's right. That's all you got to do. Don't add, mix, and dilute what the prophet brought and taught. He said, give it to him the way I left it. Teach what I brought. Teach what I taught. That's all you got to do. And it will wake up them dry bones. It won't mine up. It will wake up some of yours. We got the message for the rest of the world. All we got to do is take it to them. They waiting on you. Allah waiting on you. You ain't got to wait for Allah. All you got to do is follow these instructions. And you'll be right at home with it. You'll be right there. That's why he brought us a prophet. At this time, we're going to call forth my beloved elder and sister, Sister H. Graves here. Grand Chief of Temple 28 out of New Jersey. We're going to let the mother talk to us tonight. Y'all listen up now, because she don't talk very loud. She got to be. Let's give her uninvited participation.
It's the hear me. And very feel me. That I can trace my father. You're passing through life, experiencing the opposite of God. But God is good. And we just need truth reversed. It's something that He wants us to learn. Truth reversed. God is good. God is nothing but. And don't care what anything looks like. If you look for God, you'll see the good and nothing else but. So that's my message. Look for the good, it will exist for that, and the good. So I give praise to my Father. I give honor to His Son who obeyed Him. Why we are here, and how we are progress, doing the work of God. I give honor to Marcus Garvey before I went my time. He did his part in bringing us the message of fight to the end. I give honor to the pastor and everybody who my village, Secretary Day, the F. Nelson Day, and Brother J. Ricky. I give honor to our former currency, I give honor to our present currency. I give honor to all the members. I give honor to all who are working for the uplifting of all men. In reading our program, you'll see that ally has everybody looking for the uplifting of all men. He's teaching us negative things and the positive way. He said we must experience it all. In order to grow, you must be what you know. So we are experiencing the negative as well as the positive. Since we are truth and falsehood standing against, it is up to us to see which is which is God's way, and which isn't God's way. That's what we're all about here. That is our will, that we grow into this perfect being. So I give honor to all the unity our prophet has brought to us, charter, divine constitution and high law, and the holy court of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You Moors don't know what a jewel you have in your hands, and you read the holy court, and you see the treasures that lie within those words. Prophet said every word is spirit. So you don't take it lightly, and you don't look at this, what seems to be evident. You don't do that with this holy word. You have to dig. You have to dig to get the treasures that lie within those words. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, we've got the jewel within our hands. What we've got to do is listen to Allah, and He will guide you. He will guide you to what they mean. He will guide you to what's really in there. Not what it looks like, seems to be in there. He guides you to what's in there. If you just work for it, if you have to study for it. And you have to believe. You must believe. What you wouldn't think is possible. You've got to believe. Salvation is a ladder reaching from the heart of men. The heart of men. Notice how it's written. The heart of men. One heart. To the heart of Allah. It has 3 steps. Belief is first. This is what man thinks we have to choose. Then you go through experiences and see. Say, I might think that might be true. I'll try it out. Then as you try and study and grow spiritually, you reach faith. Then you'll know that's the truth. So from your experiences, you'll know that's the truth. And who is in this last? This is when man himself becomes the truth. And that's what you are. That's what you are, truth. And you will just be coming into your own when you be fruition. So it takes work, takes study, and most of all, love. Love will make it an easy task. All the prophet asks you to do is concentrate on love. Concentrate on love. Focus on love. And see the results. See the results. You feel good all the time. All the time. You feel good. Love is the salvation. It's our will that we pass through all the way to life. It's our will. First chapter tells you that. It gives you the story. It's like looking at a movie. Read it, and it's telling you every step you can go through in this life. And why? It tells you why. It tells you why. All you have to do is read. So let me read some of this Holy Quran that I just put up. I'd like to read to you chapter 7. Chapter 7, the friendship of Jesus and the mosque. Jesus explains to the mosque the meaning of truth. The meaning of truth. You know, Friday we had such a beautiful meeting. This chapter was very satisfying. My chairman, I think it was chairman, assistant chairman, read from chapter 7. Oh, was it? Okay. But anyhow, I'm telling you, I look at synchronicity. Prophet said, be alert. What's going on around here? And it's synchronicity that this chapter came up. To me, that means that Allah has something in here He wants us to see and look and study and examine. So, when you see chapter 1, tells you why we're here, why it happened, how it took place, so forth and so on, and what's going to take place. It's in that chapter 1, it tells you. And then chapter 2 tells you how Jesus and John, they took an important part in getting us to become one with our God. They set that foundation stone, that rock on which man builds himself. They are ordained to lay that rock on which the temple of the perfect man will rest. So you see, it's all a big story. It's all a drama. If Jesus said, my life is one great drama, showing the possibility of man. So pay attention. And you know, I used to all through my life, I said, if I wanted to get high, I didn't need no liquor and stuff to get high. I didn't read about Jesus' life. When I became conscious of the fact that I could, at first I said, no, I couldn't do what Jesus did. He was special. But I found out he's just like me. Going through it all the way back. And he reached the place where he could demonstrate to us what we needed to do to become one with Allah, one at a time. And we will get there, but it's Allah's will. It's Allah's will that we become this perfect being. All we have to do is be. Be. We are really spiritual, immortal beings. That's what we really are. We are beings. We only seem to be mortal humans. That's just a process that we're going through, that we're learning. So we unfold into the Holy Grail. See, through the Holy Grail tells you the whole story. It tells you exactly what you have to go through. It tells you exactly what you're going through in this called life. It tells you exactly, if you do it this way, this will take place. If you do it that way, that will take place. So you pay the consequences. You pay the consequences. But the thing about it is it's just something you pass through. Man who passed through all the ways of life. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. We're just passing through. Only reason you're stuck there is because you're there. And if it's miserable, it's because you're making it miserable. When you go to school, you have a certain subject. You don't like it, but if you want to get to a higher grade, you got to pass it. That's all right for this. You pass through that. Pass through all the ways of life. Then you decide which is Allen's way and which is the God's way. That's all there is to it. You don't have to be all this misery, pain. We do that. We do that by the way we think. We don't look at things as they should be. Let us read chapter 7 and tell how you should look at things. The friendship of Jesus and the moth. Jesus explains to the moth the meaning of truth. Who knew truth had a meaning? The truth was just truth. It just is. But it has a meaning. A meaning in the manifestation, in the language of the manifestation. Praise God. How about it, y'all? How about it so good? I mean, I'm just so fully. I mean, 24/7. It's nothing like, you want to know the science, the secret of happiness? Have an hour in your life. 24/7, nothing like it. Nothing in this carnal world will last. Nothing. Nothing. And you won't see all the pain and misery and chaos because, according to chapter 7, it doesn't even exist. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. It's something that seems to be. Oh, praise God. He's given us the message. And He already put it to us. I said, He showed us, but we got to do something too. Because the devil that exists is within you. And the only way it's going to get rid of it is you get rid of it. See, not somebody else, not your brother, not your sister. That devil's within you. And if you want to find your Savior, you must look within.
Right.
You've been getting this message all the time. Y'all been heard all these speakers all the time, all these months, been getting this message. But the lower self is still trying to go to and fro the earth. See if you made it. But as we grow spiritually and understand the words that our Papa had written in this word, and it was weaker and weaker. He had less and less success. And so, I must read this beautiful chapter, which they all are. All these beautiful chapters in this Holy Quran. You get down with it, you will find treasures that no man can gather. No man can gather. It says, among the Jewish priests, the preceptor, there's one who loved the Jewish poor. The Mosque promised with the name of which the priest was known. One day, as Jesus and the Mosque walked alone in the Plaza Tabernacle, the Mosque said, my Jewish master, what is truth? And Jesus said, truth is the only thing that changes not. In all the world, there are two things. One is truth, the other is falsehood. Falsehood, that which seems to be. Now, truth is all. It has no cause. And yet, it is the cause of everything. Falsehood is known. And yet, it is the manifest truth of all. Of right. It is the manifest of right. Whatever has been made, if there's children, whatever has been made will be unmade. Who made you? Oh. And I give you pause for thought. Oh. That which was made will be unmade. Think on that. Think. which begins must end. Yet in the first chapter, it's like, and there time never was when man was not. Sometimes you have to think. You have to think what's being said here. You can't just take it face value. This is saying something here. That don't stand out. All things that can be seen by human eyes are manifest of all. All things that can be seen by human eyes are manifest of all, or not, which is nothing, and so must pass away. Take a good look at that, y'all. Look at what that's saying. The thing we see are but reflexes just appearing while the ethers vibrate so and so. And when conditions change, they disappear. The holy breath is true. That which is, was, and is, and evermore shall be. It cannot change nor pass away. Mama said, we answered well. Now what is man? And Jesus said, man is the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Man is the breath made flesh. Breath made flesh. Made flesh. Breath. Man is really breath. Made flesh. So truth and falsehood are conjoined in him. And then they strive, and naught goes down. Notice, naught goes down. And man and truth are again in my face. What do you say with power? And Jesus said, it is a manifest. Is the result of force. It is but naught. It is illusion, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. We in the corner will fighting for power, fighting for power. Nothing but illusion. Nothing but illusion. Power is nothing but illusion. That's something we have to know. Nothing more, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. Power changes. Well, we see that in that body and that in that. How then power changes. Today I have it, tomorrow you have it, tomorrow somebody else has it. It's changing, yet we fight, we even kill for power. See how it takes the studies, and let Alma guide you, Alma you to understand. The gifts of the understanding of the treasures. Force is the will of power, and is omnipotent. And power is that which is both that will and manifest. Directed by the great. There's a power in the wind, a power in the waves, a power in the light, stroke, a power in the human arm, a power in the eye. Each is calls these powers to him, and thought of a Logan, of angel, man, of other things, directs the voice. When it has done its work, the power is no more. Think about that. Again, the law says, of understanding whatever this is. And Jesus said, it is the rock on which man builds himself. It is the notice of the thought and of the law, of falsehood and of truth. You know, in the second chapter, it tells you that Jesus and John were ordained to lay the solid rock on which the temple was the perfect man. The solid rock. Jesus and John came and called in and had some understanding of what's really taking place. Understanding. The gifts of the understanding. And Allah was himself to us. The gifts of the understanding. I'm telling you. As we look, he just calls these powers to be and thought and below him, an angel, man, the rock on which men build it. It is the gnosis of the thought and of the know, of falsehood and of truth. In other words, it's the knowledge of it. The knowledge, the gnosis. It's a knowledge that you don't know why you know it, but you know it because you just feel it. It's a gnosis, something that's given to you through our gifts of understanding. It is the knowledge of the Lord's Son, the sensing of the powers of man himself. The Lord gave him all that, of wisdom, whatever you say. And Jesus said, it is the consciousness that man is born, that Allah and man are one. It is the consciousness that man is born, that Allah and man are one. That naught is naught, that power is but illusion, that heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but in, which, in the light of all, becomes the naught. Allah is and Allah is all. Can you see? Can you see? In the light of all. See, all this in this carnal world isn't but naught. It's illusion. Manifest is falsehood. It is not the truth. This is something we have to get used to. And what we see with this carnal eye, not for me. You want to tell me this? What I'm looking at is not for me. It's an illusion. You pass away. This also just study amongst. And Allah will open our understanding. That's it. Allah is a. The boss said, hey, what is faith? And Jesus said, faith is the surety of omnipotence, of Allah and man. The certainty that man will reach Jesus Christ. See that? That's a fact. That's not just words. Man will reach Jesus Christ. See? See how the hope is there? All we have to do is find out how. See how you can be happy? Don't care what station Allah puts you in, He's fixed it so you can be happy. You can be happy because of the way He has it set up. The fortune that our fathers have contributed to the support of soul grace because He who has the means to live righteously, to live good, must take care of the ones who can't, doesn't have. So that's His law. That's the way He set it to them. So you see, you've got no reason to be sad or do without. But see, but they bring the law when we don't have it. But He has made us have to experience what it's like, what we call good, or living good, so forth. We have to go like this. We have to change the way we look at things. We have to change. Or having a whole bunch of material that you see people that are rich and have all this material stuff. Are they happy? No. Are they blissfully happy? Always? No. Even more miserable than the one who doesn't have it. So we must change the way we look at things. Having a whole lot of material stuff is not the answer. It's not that. In fact, there's a big head. The more you accumulate, the more you worry about where it's going to get away from you. So what's happiness in it? And He said, those He has fixed it so the ones who has plenty of what we call the good stuff, He has a responsibility of taking care of all who is around Him that doesn't have. So it all comes with responsibility. So if you don't have money, you can be happy because you don't have that responsibility. That would be free. The one who has it has a responsibility. And you'll find out that having the material is not what makes you happy. That's not the food. Love is the power. Love will set you free. I'm telling you, love will set you free. So good. So good. And man will reach the other. Listen, y'all, pay attention. He said, man, will reach the other. We gotta, what are we fearful of? When he has already promised that you're going to reach it. He said, when man conquers carnal, God will bless will have served his purpose with it. And it won't fall, won't reap no more. That's a promise. That's a fact. So what are we fearful of? Why are we so unhappy? Why are we so letting jealousy and envy come into our lives and our hearts? And Allah has fixed everything for everything. But we have repentance. And material things are not the answer. That's the one. That's the thought we have to get to. Love. And the thought of that is in your people. Love one another. Focus on love. Focus on love. And you will create love. What you focus on, you create. You have a bad day, you focus on it, you live it over and over and over and over, you create it. Over and over and over. That's the way we have to start thinking. And we are our brother's keeper. Because Allah says, we come here, and the pinnacle of wisdom it says, treat your life, not for the good for yourself, but for the good it may be of others. So that's the way you live. That's the way you show. You make sure your brother is getting along all right, or at least having what he needs, you see. When he's in trouble, you help him out. When your sister's in trouble, forsake him. That's the way we have to live. That way, you say, well, what about me? Somebody's looking out for you. If they follow the Allah's law, that's the way he has it set up. So it takes away that tendency to be jealous and envious and greedy. You see? It takes that away. You have need for it. So it's beautiful, Allah. Really stop it as it's good. You just listen and take heed and obey. Let Allah lead you. Listen to Allah. Don't listen to man. Listen to Allah. Let him lead you. Just be. And he will lead you where you need to be. Salvation is a matter reaching from the heart of man to the heart of God. It has 3 steps. Jesus first. And this is what man has to see. And faith is next. And this is what man knows is true. Truly sent is the life. And this is man himself the truth. Man himself the truth. You are the truth. Do we realize that? That we are the truth. We only seem to be human beings. Not the truth. Belief is lost in faith. And in fruition, faith. And man is saved when he has reached his when he and I'd like to start a song that I believe I love so much because it's so true. It's so true. It's so true. By and by, when the morning comes, all the mountains will be carried on. We will tell the story how we overcome. And we'll understand it better by and by. Shelter and food, thirsting in
Greenfield. Thank her for that beautiful understanding on that child. Praise God. And that beautiful song. By and by. By and by, we gonna make it. Without further ado, we're gonna call forth the Grand Sheik, the temple number 19, out of Flint, Michigan, Brother Old Brown Hill. Please give him your undivided attention as he comes to the restroom.
It's on the middle.
Have time to sing along. Me to my father's house. To my father's house. Oh yeah. To my father's house. Come and go with me. To my father's house. There is peace, peace, peace.
Sweet contentment there.
Islam. I rise giving highest praise to Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world.
Yes.
Almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. To the one who is supreme, most wise, and beneficent, and to him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise.
Yes.
He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. He hath wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature conformable to his will.
Yes.
In the depth of his mind, he revolveth all knowledge.
Yes.
The secrets of futurity lie open before him. The thoughts of thy heart are naked to his view. He knoweth thy determination before they are made. With respect to his prescience, there is nothing contingent. With respect to his providence, there is nothing accidental. Wonderful he is in all his ways.
He is.
His counsels are inscrutable. The manner of his knowledge transcendeth thy conception. Pay therefore to his wisdom all honor and veneration, and bow down thyself in humble and submissive obedience to his supreme discretion.
Yes.
The Father is gracious and beneficent. He hath created the world in mercy and love. For Allah is the causeless cause and the rootless root from which all things have grown. The universal Allah is wisdom, will, and love. The universal Allah is one, yet he is more than one. All things are one. Praise be to Allah. great God of the universe.
Right, brother.
We give honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, who has given to us the everlasting gospel so that we can have sense enough to know who the great universal creator of the world is.
Yeah.
We give honors to all prophets of Allah, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. We give honors to the forerunners of the prophets. We give honors to the Supreme Grand Advisors and moderators of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother C. Kirkland Bay, Brother F. Nelson Bay, and Brother J. Blakely Bay. Give honors to our former Grand Chief, Brother R. Love Hill. Give honors to our present Grand Chief, Brother R. Jones Bay, his national official staff. We give honors to Grand Chiefs and Governors, heads of all temples. Give honors to the two flags combined. Give honors to the Charter, Divine Constitution and bylaws, questioning additional laws. And give honors to each and every one of you. The Prophet teaches us that when you honor man, you honor Allah. And we are truly worthy of honor, even those of us who think the least of ourselves. We are worthy of honor, because man is made in the image and after the likeness of our Father God Allah. And those of us who know have an obligation to be honorable to those who do not honor themselves.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We have a duty and an obligation. And I give honors to everything that the great and illustrious Prophet has brought for the uplifting and fallen of humanity. Truly happy to be here in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Truly. I'd like to read from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, Divinely Prepared by Noble Prophet Drew Ali. By the guidance of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from the sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life. That's the part I like. You give us some eternal history when you say back to the highest plane of life. See? It tells us we've been somewhere and we're going again. Allah's victory is sure. I like to read from the Holy Quran. I like to read, bear with me, chapter 41, Holy Instructions from the Prophet in Constancy. And I'd like to read Divine Instructions 9 through 22. And before I do that, I'd like to preface it with this. The Prophet reads, in the Holy Instructions from the Prophet, the breath of heaven. It says, as the breath of heaven saith unto the waters of the deep, this way shall thy billows roll, and no other. Thus high and no higher shall they raise their fury. So let thy spirit, O man, actuate and direct thy flesh. So let it repress its wilderness. Divine Instruction 9, chapter 41, Holy Instructions from Inconstancy reads, establish unto thyself, that means make firm, foundated. Establish unto thyself, to you, to me as the individual, principles of action. See, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is not just what we say, it's what we do. These are principles of action. See, we don't just want to know them, we want to do them.
Yes, sir.
Then you don't have to talk about it. You just do it. And see that thou ever act according to them. So there are going to be some situations that occur, but if we establish unto thyself the principles, we already know how we're going to respond. Regardless of the circumstance, we're going to respond in love.
Yeah.
Why? Because we have established it in our heart.
Right.
And when it is in our heart, you can't do anything but love.
Right.
So when we find ourselves not loving, we know that we need to work on self some more. So once we establish the principles, It says, so shall thy passions, see, those are the things, they rise up. Maybe something's pulling at us. Because we don't know, and so we speak out. What we thought you said, or it looked like you said. So we quick to, before you finish your sentence, I'm already thinking what I'm getting ready to say. So I'm not really trying to hear you, I'm just waiting for the pause so that I can jump back in. I'm not seeking to, right? You should seek first to understand, then to be understood. Let me hear from you. See where you're coming from. So shall the constancy ensure unto thee the good thou possessest, and drive from thy door misfortune. Is there misfortune? The prophet is teaching us. Anxiety and disappointment shall be strangers to thy gates. Just look at your gate. That's all you have to do. Anxiety and disappointment shall be strangers. That means they're not visiting you on a regular basis. Suspect not evil in anyone until thou see it. When thou seest it, forget it not. Whoso hath been an enemy cannot be a friend. For man mendeth not his faults. How should his actions be right, who have no rule of his life? See, that's the principles coming back to. How can the actions be right? So again, what are we doing? Nothing can be just which proceedeth not from reason. The prophet teaches us about reason. It says, the inconstant hath no peace in his soul, neither can be at ease with whom he concerneth himself with. It says the inconstant has no peace in his soul, in his reasoning, his thinking, his willing, his understanding. He has no peace. Neither can be at ease whom he concerneth himself with. In our interactions with one another, I'm not at peace with me, so certainly I can't be at peace with you. So every time I
Speak, brother. Teach the truth.
if it's always somebody else, right? Everywhere I go, I seem to have a problem. At home, at work, at play, everywhere I go, there seems to be some sort of issue. See? The problem might not be with them. It says his life is unequal. His motions are irregular. His soul changeth with the weather. Today he loveth thee. Tomorrow thou art detested by him. And why? Himself knoweth not, wherefore he now hateth. Today he is the tyrant. Tomorrow thy servant is less humble. And why? He who is arrogant without power will be servile while there is no subjection. Today he is profuse. Tomorrow he grudgeth unto his mouth that which it should eat. Thus it is with him who knoweth not moderation. That's just one day. Just keep doing that every day. Who shall say of the chameleon, he is black, when the moment after the verdure of the grass overspreadeth him? Who shall say of the inconstant, he is joyful, when his next breath shall be spent in sighing? What is the life of such a man but the phantom of a dream? In the morning he riseth happy. At noon he is on the rack. This hour he is a god. The next hour The next below a worm. One moment he laugheth, the next he weepeth. He now willeth, and in an instant he willeth not. And in another he knoweth not whether he willeth or not. That's just from morning to noon. Yet neither ease nor pain have fixed themselves on him. Neither is he waxed greater or become less. Neither hath he had cause for laughter or reason for his sorrow. Therefore shall none of them abide with him. Prophet is teaching us to know thyself. Know thyself. Spend time with self. Higher self and the lower self. Prophet gives us instructions to make right so that we can have right thought, right deeds, right words. I heard Sister Graves Hill speaking about the things in life we try to accumulate. That's not a reflection of right thought. It's not a reflection of right thought, because we see people with wrong thought who accumulate a lot of things. So that's not the end goal. We're talking about blessedness. See? And that don't stop you from going through something. Because it's, without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. The thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. So because we have right thought, that don't stop the things from happening. That's just there for us to continue to grow. So it's not the end. It's a means to life eternal. So we can rise up. The prophet has given us divine instructions. I'm so happy to be in the Moore Science Temple. And every temple priest and every living creature said, praise Allah. Peace.